Hello and welcome to day one of Headstand, from basics to balancing. Today's practice is called setting the foundation. So the foundation is the part that's touching the floor, and specifically what we're going to work on is how to place the forearms and the hands to create a stable and strong base. So this practice will be one part of that, a little bit of a workshop on that, and the other part on how to open the shoulders and arms in a way that will work to make this pose easier. You don't need any props aside from your yoga mat, so go ahead and hop on your mat and join me for this practice. We're going to begin standing, and you can stand with your feet a comfortable distance apart today, so that might be hip width for you. Try not to let your hips go too far forward. Keep them stacked back right over the ankles. Take a moment to exhale and to feel your feet on the ground, just to create some stability from the support of the ground. Then roll your shoulders back and turn your palms forward. When you inhale, sweep your arms all the way up overhead. Stay standing and exhale the hands back down. We're going to do this one more time. On the in breath, open the arms, stretch wide, and really reach up. The shoulders might even slightly slide up because you're really stretching the arms. And then exhale and take the hands down by your sides. So we will do the reach again, but it'll be a change after the arms go overhead. So inhale once more, pushing the feet down and reaching high and long through the arms. Here's the change. On the exhale, open the arms and swan dive all the way forward, and if you can, touch the floor. If not, you can put your hands on blocks, or you could bend your knees and put your hands on your shins. Just release the head for a moment, stretch the legs. And then when you breathe in, climb the hands up onto the shins, push into the legs, and lengthen the spine and look forward. When you exhale, fold back in. And then inhale and rise up once more, taking the arms overhead. This time when the arms come overhead, you're going to bend your right elbow, and then you're going to hold the tip of your right elbow with your left hand. So I'm going to turn around and allow you to see the back of that. You're just resting your hand against the back of your neck or upper back. And what you're going to try to do with this is to tuck the elbow in so that it's more in line with your shoulder, not so wide out to the side. If you can do that easily, maybe begin to bring it back so that it's in line with the shoulder front to back as well. Push up through your elbow right into your left hand. And at the same time, just have an awareness of your feet. Spread your toes and push down into your legs. And even though this pose, or rather this practice, is about the foundation, what your feet are doing will come in handy later in a different practice when we work on going upside down. Now inhale, take both arms overhead. And on the exhale, you're going to bend your elbows out to the sides, squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. And then inhale and straighten the arms back up. Let's do the second side. So you're going to bend your left elbow, and you're going to hold your elbow tip with your right hand. You're going to do your best to steer that upper arm in line with your shoulder. So not out wide to the left, but just straight upright. And notice when you do that, if you tend to have your ribs or your belly pop forward. So a lot of times in yoga, people will say this looks like a banana, like the hips or the belly sway forward. Try to keep more of a plumb line where the hips are back, even as the elbow sweeps high and up toward the sky. Now in breath, the arms are going to release, palms forward once more. And when you exhale, you're going to bend your elbows just like you did last time. From here though, you're going to draw the elbows forward, and you're going to have them right about shoulder width, and you're just going to tip the fingertips together. So you're making the top part of a triangle. This is going to come in handy as our foundation base a little bit later. Open the palms, parallel the arms, exhale, release the hands down. I'm going to turn on the long edge of my mat. Inhale, reach your arms overhead, keeping the hips right over the ankles. Just like earlier, open the arms, Exhale and swan dive forward and touch the floor or your shins or blocks if you have them. And then just as we did earlier, slide the hands up onto the fronts of the legs. Inhale, push into the legs, lift the waist, gaze forward. Exhale and fold back towards the floor. When you inhale again, walk your hands toward the front of your mat and step your feet to the back and come into downward facing dog. Push down with your hands and lift a little under your armpits, like there's a buoyancy there in the shoulder joint. At the same time, squeeze between the shoulder blades and do your best to press your chest deeper into a back bend, closer to your legs without just collapsing the shoulders. So those are opposite directions. Just balance them as best you can. When you exhale, drop your knees. Place your toes flat and rest for just a moment in child's pose, supporting your head on your hands or the floor. Then push yourself to sit upright, and if you're comfortable on your feet here, just stay sitting in Vajrasana on your heels. If not, you can sit cross-legged. And we'll return to this shoulder stretch idea that we had earlier. So you're going to reach your right arm to the sky, and this time you're going to take your hand not to the tip of your elbow, but you're going to take your left hand to the outer upper arm, and you're going to help rotate that so that the outer arm spins forward and across toward your face, and the inner arm rolls away from your face out to the right. So this is external rotation. Keep doing that, and then push the arm back so that it comes more in line with the side of your body, and maybe even by your head a little bit more. So you're practicing rolling that arm. Outer shoulder widens, inner arm pushes back. And then exhale and release. And we'll do that on the other arm. So I'll turn, you can see it from the front this time. Left arm, this is my left, I'm not mirroring you here, goes overhead. And then instead of bending your elbow and grabbing the elbow, grab the upper arm with your hand. You're gonna turn, physically hold and turn your arm. So you're turning it so that the bicep moves back toward the back and then spirals away from your ear. And the front of the arm comes toward your face, that's the tricep. And we're working to open the shoulders in a new way that will help create some freedom when we go upside down. And I know this might seem like kind of tedious and boring, but when the shoulders are open, the pose becomes a lot easier. So check that the ribs haven't jutted forward, mine just did, and just hold it maybe for 1 or 2 more breaths. And then when you exhale, release. Come down to your forearms now. And make your forearms, the elbows, right under your shoulders. Just like we did a moment ago standing, you're going to tip your hands together and just steeple the fingertips to touch one another. So the elbows are apart. We're not interlacing the fingers yet. We're just creating like an equilateral triangle. So from elbow through wrist to fingertips, it's a straight diagonal line. Once you have that, push down with your wrists and step back with your right foot to a low plank position. When you're ready, if it feels safe to you, step the other leg back and hold. Now, if it's not working for you, you could alternate one leg bent, the other leg straight. Just supporting with one leg, working on the stability of a strong foundation of the forearms. This is what's going to help support you when you go upside down. So hold your forearm plank, elbows under shoulders, fingertips together, forming a triangle right under your face. Push the wrists down until you feel the back of your arms working, the shoulders working, and give yourself one more chance to breathe here, integrating this power and strength in the arms. And then begin to walk your feet towards your elbows and open the feet about as wide as your mat. That's going to make it easier flexibility-wise. You can even bend your knees. For Dolphin Pose, you push your chest back, just like in Dog Pose, towards your legs.
Keep pushing down with your wrists. Little lightness in the shoulders, some buoyancy, just like we did in downward facing dog. See if you can really integrate the connection to the ground, that pushing down with the forearms, the elbows, the outer edges of the hands, opening and stretching the shoulders. And start to walk the feet back out and drop the knees and come back to your child's pose to get the weight off of your arms.
And again, when you've caught your breath and you're ready to sit up, go ahead and sit back either on your feet or cross-legged. And then you're going to bring your arms forward, just parallel right out in front of you. So the shape we were working with was just tipping the fingertips together. So we're not bending at the wrists. We're going to keep this, but we're going to interlace the fingers. So you're going to go all the way to the webs of the fingers, all the way tight. But the little fingers, you're going to uncross those, and you can either touch the tips together or you can wrap one in front of the other. Since this is forming the foundation of the pose along with your head, if we uncross here, we make the foundation more level, and that's less wobbly. So again, you interlace, elbows shoulder width, and instead of having this break or bend at the wrist, you straighten the wrist out as if you were holding maybe an egg or a lemon right there between your hands. That small space right between the heels of the hands, that's what's going to touch the back of your head when we eventually get to putting our head on the floor. So that's the shape. We're not going to break it at the wrist. That's not as stable and strong as when there's a nice triangular shape. Okay, so let's go back and place that on the ground. Remember what that feels like, or recreate it by coming back to all fours on your forearms. Elbows are roughly under the shoulders, interlaced to the webs. Thumbs are steepled up, tips of them lightly touching, and there's a small space between the heels of the hands, like you're cradling an egg. Now don't change that shape at all. That's one of the hardest things when we set the foundation. So you're gonna really just stare at it, look at it, push your wrist down, and then step back again to low plank. So one foot can go back, and you can just kind of practice alternating legs if this is harder for you. Or maybe both legs step into low plank. Don't change your hands at all. So that little gap, it's maybe like 1.5 inches between the heels of the hands. It's not going away. You're not losing that at all. Push the wrists down, push the elbows and forearms down. Push so much that you feel the back of your arms beginning to engage, maybe even fatiguing, burning. Lift the belly, lift the waistline. You should be starting to get a little bit tired. This should not feel like it's easy. Then you're gonna walk in, we're doing dolphin pose again. As you walk in, the tendency is for the shoulders to lean way over the hands and the head to collapse down. I'm going to ask you to push your chest back towards your feet so that your head is more between the forearms or near the elbows. If you can, walk your feet in. They can go apart and you can bend your knees, but see if you can get your buns up above your elbows instead of back by your heels. Keep pushing the forearms down. The hands have not changed at all. If you're not sure, look at them. That heel of the hand space should not have changed. Good job. Walk out with the feet. Put the knees down on the mat. Point the toes. Sit back on the heels and unclasp and relax your arms. Now, just for comparison, if you're ever unsure about the stability of that base, try opening the hands and creating that kind of square shape where the wrist is broken. put that on the mat and see how stable it is if you move around in the shoulders and the forearms, versus the way we did it previously where there's that diagonal line where the wrist is a straight shape from knuckle to elbow tip, and there's a heel, an egg distance space between the heels of the hands. Just see which one feels more stable to you. All right, so that's it for the foundation part. The upper back, the head, we'll get to in tomorrow's video, the next video. So for now, you can lie on your back and open your arms out to the sides. Give yourself a moment to exhale in a long sigh. Headstand, even though it's an inversion, can be very invigorating. So we wouldn't want to stop and just walk away from the practice without giving a moment to calm and slow. So let's add to that now by drawing the knees in toward the chest. And again, giving ourselves time to give a slow, long exhale to the pose. We'll twist the knees over to the right and drop the left shoulder back toward the floor. Bring legs to center, and when you're ready, take them over to the left side. Imagining maybe that there's a weight helping that right shoulder relax without any effort. Again, come back to center. Hug both knees in. And then release your feet either all the way out to Shavasana or just tip the knees in onto one another to rest. And we'll just take 3 breaths to finish this practice. In slowly and mindfully through the nose. And deep and long out through the mouth. Twice more with me, in the nose. And out the mouth. Last time. When you're ready, roll over to your side. And use your hands to push yourself up to sitting. Thanks for joining me on learning how to set the foundation of the forearms in headstand. Please come back for video 2, which is about how and where to place your head in headstand 1. Thanks so much. Have a good day.